the Sonoma County Barrel Auction 2024. Ding!
Teresa Heredia.
Greg Morthole.
Reed Kennett.
Jay Sweet.
Gregory Roberts.
Brandon Muller.
Dan Costa.
Darrel Holbrook.
Tracy Burns. Leah Suggs.
Randall Watkins. Mark Mazzoni.
Alicia Sylvester.
Chris Benziger.
Lisa Amaroli. I'm Olivia Wright.
Jeff Pizzoni.
Cassidy Block.
Andrea Card.
Hillary Sholin.
I'm the director of winemaking for Gary Farrell Vineyards and Winery. So this is a really special auction lot from 2 blocks at Rocchioli. So they're both on the river block. One of them is a larger percentage from the new river block. It's a clone 777. And the other is the classic old river block. So we're calling it the new kid on the block. So in this case, it's less about the clone and more about the hang time that we got in 2023. So the clone 777 block was one of the last Pinots that we picked. Came in around 23.5 bricks, but it had really like almost 120 days of, maybe it was more like 110 days of hang time. And it just made this beautiful wine with dark color and great concentration. We blended in a little bit of the old river block to add some of that earthiness, that classic Rocchioli character. And it's in a brand new on a selection Terra light toast barrel. So really pretty. www.garyfarrellwinery.com.
I'm the winemaker for Davis Bynum Wines out here in the Russian River Valley, California. I'm pouring 2023 Swan Clone Pinot Noir. So this comes from the Green Valley. It's fruit that we just picked up this last year, and I thought it was great. We fermented it in new French oak puncheons. So it was hand punched in about 4 puncheons. We put it down to barrels, so I have about 4 barrels of this wine, but we brought 5 cases just for this Sonoma County Barrel Auction. Spring has sprung. You know, the vintage is off to a good start. It's off to a little bit of a late start, not quite as late as last year. But, you know, all things are go. www.davisbynum.com.
I'm the assistant winemaker at Brooksnote Winery in Petaluma. Today we have a lot that we put together from a brand new vineyard called Sweet Family Vineyard in the Petaluma Gap, up on the hills of Sonoma Mountain. So it's a Pinot Noir, which is what we specialize in, and also Petaluma Gap is kind of the home of what we do for the most part, kind of the core of our program. Well, the AVA was approved in 2017, and so there's always, I think, a little bit of lag time between when the AVAs are approved and the general public awareness. But the Sonoma Coast is, you know, basically where that has carved out of and has been producing, you know, killer wines for 30 years now. Well, there are a lot of sweets out there. Jay Sweet is the farmer and owner of this vineyard. He gets a lot of help from a guy named Charlie Chenoweth, who's farmed some really amazing vineyards out in Russian River and beyond. And we're really excited to partner up with them to produce fruit from this really cool vineyard. It's www.brooksnotewines.com.
Sweet Family Vineyards, and I'm the caretaker. It is our family. Susan, Skylar, JT, and Sam. Brooksnote is one of the wineries with whom we work, and so he does this incredible rosé. We've got a Chard here, one of their 22 Petaluma Gap Pinot Noirs, and then our blend of 3 different clones for today that's in the barrel auction. Petaluma Gap is a lower temperature area, so it brings out the acidity and sometimes the minerality of the grapes. And in our particular case, we're up at about 800 feet on the saddle of Sonoma Mountain, and it's just our first year of producing grapes, and we're really excited from what we're seeing. SweetFamilyVineyards.com.
I am vintner and co-founder of Brandon Gregory Estate Wines in Knights Valley. So today we're pouring our auction lot. It's 5 cases. It's a 25% or 25-75 split cab front, majority Cabernet. It's a beautiful blend. We're also pouring our flagship Alicia, which is a 1/3 cab franc, 2/3 Cabernet blend, and then we have our Brandon Gregory label as well, which is our Sauvignon Blanc and our Cabernet. The Journey is what we're calling our auction lot, and you know, this is our first auction. We just got into this business back in 2019, so I think it's our journey. It's about our journey into the wine business, our journey learning our vineyard, Brookshire Vineyard, and I think we've made a beautiful blend. Julian Fayard's our winemaker, and he really just kind of went through the barrels and found the best of the best and said, this is what we're going to do. It's fantastic. BrandonGregoryWines.com.
Co-founder of Brandon Gregory Estate. Our primary label is the Brandon Gregory, and we have our flagship wine, which is a blend of Cabernet Franc. We affectionately call it Elation. Elation actually is a word that means to draw a conclusion, which is essentially what we're doing when we're coming up with the specific blend every year. We also like to think of it as a mashup of the words elated and illumination, which really is it's an emotion you feel when you're enjoying a very good wine. www.brandongregorywines.com.
I'm a vintner of DK Wine Group, which includes Admire Winery, Convene Winery, and DK Grail Winery. Well, it's very nice to meet you, and this is such a great day because, well, here we are May 2nd, and the weather's great, and it's just a fantastic day for trying all these barrels, especially, 8-9 months or whatever it is after harvest. They're really these barrel samples are really starting to scream. I think people are starting to gear up for bottling too. So a lot of these, let's say Pinot Noirs, some Chardonnays, some of the aromatic whites, they're actually getting ready to be bottled in July or August. So, being in May, we are getting closer than a lot of people think. So we have these two fermentations. We have our primary fermentations, which usually happen by the end of the year. And then we have our malolactic fermentations, which can sometimes be slow, but pretty much all of those are done. So we're dealing with real finished wines that may or may not just want a little more time just in the barrel just to evolve a little bit. We are a Pinot Noir house mainly with a little bit of Chardonnay.
Well, it's a bit of a surprise to me.
A bit of a surprise, I know. Stick with what you do best, right? And ours is, we call it the West Wind. So that alludes to the West Sonoma Coast, which is a new appellation for us, carved out of the northwest part of the appellation. And our particular vineyard is called Campbell Ranch, and we did 10 cases of this, so it's really really nice. And 23 are just, those wines are fantastic. This is going to be Convene. We do have 3 labels. We have Admire, we have Convene, and we have Grail, but for this, it is Convene. Because we are here at Baccus Landing, and we actually are kind of co-hosting this because our tasting room's here. Our Convene tasting room is here, so we're very lucky to be at home for this event. We are www.convenewine.com.
I am the winemaker for Chalk Hill Winery. So today we have a 2023 Winter Circle Pinot. So it's a blend of 85% from our Winter Circle Pinot vineyard and 15% from our Trent vineyard. So unique blend, the first time offering it. We haven't had the Winter Circle before. This is our first time producing this SKU, so we're looking forward to it. What I do is I pick all the blocks separately, ferment them separately, and evaluate them in barrels separately. Then what I do is kind of go through and I taste each barrel from each lot and decide what I want to kind of blend together. And so it's time consuming, but it's very much going in and selecting the best of the best barrels for this program. www.chalkhill.com.
Flowers Winery, the hospitality lead. Today we're featuring our 3 Ridgelines Pinot Noir. This has fruit from estates out on the Sonoma Coast in the Fort Ross Seaview AVA. All the vineyards, high elevation, above the fog, cool climate, and forested areas as well. This is a very unique growing area. These forests give this wine a very savory style. Beautiful fruit flavors from the coast as well. Flowerswinery.com.
And marketing with Head High Wines. Our auction lot is Nalu Alani, which means orange wave, and that really derives from our coastal impact here in Sonoma County. It is a blend of Muscat, Grenache Blanc, and Vermentino. It has some beautiful floral aromatics, some acidity and salinity, kind of reminiscent of the Sonoma coast, and then it rounds out with a little bit of nuttiness on the back end. Everyone's coming here to try everyone's auction lot, and they want it to be something that they've never had before. So how do we do that? By having fun with different varieties, creating different winemaking style impressions, and really showcasing all that there is to offer when we really get back to the creative way of making wine. But I think the best best part about marketing in the wine space is really meeting consumers where they're at and creating beautiful experiences to showcase, all the variety of wines we have to offer. It's headhighwines.com, and our Instagram is at headhighwines.
I'm the winemaker at Laurel Glen Vineyard. Well, we have a wine that has never been seen before. It is actually from originally our oldest block from 1968, which was planted to the Laurel Glen clone of Cabernet Sauvignon. We replanted most of it in 2014. So now it's 10-year-old vines. So actually our youngest vines came from the oldest block, but it's still the Laurel Glen clone. And what I did differently than most years is I did 25% whole cluster with this lot. And it adds a different layer to the fruit and also a nice spice that the wine would not normally have. I think they're looking for the story, something unique, and then they taste and see which one they really like. So that's, I think, what they're mainly bidding on is which one they really like the taste of, and is it something that no one's seen before as well, something unique. LaurelGlen.com.
The owner winemaker for Zialena Winery in Geyserville, California. Excited about our auction lot. Our family story is the same family story that a lot of people have here in Sonoma County. Is it starts off with the Italian Swiss colony, which was the cooperative winery in Asti. So the Saini and the Pedroncellis also have that same family history that we do, the Mazzonis who own Zialena. And so the varietal that was most important to them was Zinfandel. So we want to honor that legacy. It's the three families coming together to blend three different Zinfandel vineyards that they farm and they own to create a Zinfandel that tells a big story about the history of the valley and the small families that are still here doing the winemaking. It is a very topographically interesting area with little channels that lead, in all different directions and close to the coast. So we have all of these different climatic differences between the areas and also the same volcanic diversity as other areas. It's a full-time job, but it's part-time in the winery and part-time in the vineyard. I do all the winemaking myself. We're only about 3,000 cases, but the focus on the winery and having it be efficient is about getting back in the vineyard because that's where we can really make the impact. Zialena.com. We've got some beautiful photographs of the estate winery that's nestled in amongst the estate vines.
I'm the winemaker for Banshee Wines, and we're part of Foley Family Wine. So Banshee's auction lot number 2, we always do the same name, Wind and Fog, coming from the Sonoma Coast AVA. I choose the best vineyards for my Sonoma Coast vineyards, and I choose my best lots. So this is coming from 2 different vineyards, the Marcucci vineyard that's coming out of Carneros, block 7, and also our Davis vineyard that's coming block 2B, and that's in Petaluma Gap, right? So that's where you're getting the wind, Petaluma Gap, and where's the fog? Boom, Carneros. We have to think about this a lot because it kind of sneaks up on you. So as winemakers, we're always like, oh yes, the auction is coming. So anytime we're tasting through our wines, or if we're making more of a Cabernet versus a Pinot, when I'm making this 2023 Pinot and we're in 24, so it's a very new wine. So when I'm first judging my wines, I go through every lot and I'm like, oh, that one could be auction. Oh, that one could be. I put little notes next to my wines when I'm composing these initial blends. Now, for some of our winemakers who are doing like Cabernet, they have to be like, hold on, we got to hold on to these wines. So I still have my special auction lot. And what am I going to do? So we're thinking ahead and making sure we keep something super special for this auction. Banshee's easy to find, BansheeWines.com. We just moved our tasting room out of the plaza in Healdsburg. We moved out of our apartment and we bought a house, so we're out in Geyserville, just 10 minutes off of the plaza. Beautiful in Alexander Valley. It's a really fun spot to get out and taste wines.
Benziger Family Winery, and I'm a family member who's been there since 1979. We're auction lot number 3, so we're coming up. So a little bit of butterflies in the stomach. We're doing a Chardonnay this year, and we're up against a lot of great Sonoma County reds. So I feel like I brought a knife to a gunfight, but it's a damn good thing like Crocodile Dundee. It all depends on the size of your knife, right? The wine is amazing. It's San Giacomo Vineyards. It's Wente clone, all farmed organically. We've been working with the San Giacomo since 1984. Lisa Amaroli is our winemaker, and she's made this incredible Chardonnay. It's crisp, it's clean. It's almost like you're drinking a little bit of Chablis inside Sonoma. It's like a love child of French and California. www.benziger.com. Come visit.
I'm the winemaker for Benziger Family Winery. I started there as a lab tech, and I moved up to assistant winemaker, then winemaker. So, it's my second job in the wine industry. You know, the Benziger family was really supportive, and for being a woman in the industry. Back in 2006, 7, and 8, they promoted me to winemaker to make all the commercial brand, and then when Mike Benziger retired, I started making the biodynamic and organic wines. It's really regenerating the soil, and that's what we're all about. And those practices are really substantial. It's just like adding probiotics to the soil, and that's what we're doing. And it's a nice event. It brings all our staff together. But also, you know, it feels good there with no herbicides or pesticides. You know, it really expresses the land, and that's what we want. It's really authentic to the place where it's grown. Our website's benziger.com.
I'm a winemaker for Rodney Strong Vineyards. Today we have a 2022 Cabernet called Knight's Delight. It is from Knights Valley. It's a single vineyard, but it's blended with a little bit of high elevation Malbec, which is a fun twist. So I decided to take the warmest part of Sonoma County in the Knights Valley appellation, which makes some really big, sensual, structured Cabernet. Blend it with a little bit of Malbec from high elevation that brings a lot of acidity, a lot of freshness, just kind of gives it a nice pop.
When you're talking about high elevation, how high are we talking about?
It's 2,000 feet.
That's very high, especially for here. You don't hear a lot about that, do you?
No, it's from Coulee Ranch, which is up north of Lake Sonoma. It's an extremely unique property. It's pretty special. I've been with the company for 6 years. I've been the winemaker for 2 now. www.rodneystrong.com.
I'm the winemaker for Fort Ross Vineyard. So we have our Fort Ross Vineyard is on the West Sonoma coast, the Fort Ross Sea View, about a mile from the ocean. So it's a great display of that area. And our auction lot is called the Terraces above the fog. It's a single block that is so steep. We terraced in the hillside, and it's almost like you're on the edge of the coast. You're on the edge of the Pacific. It's like a block that's almost going to fall into the water. It's so close. Yeah, we have a lot of different blocks. It's really neat, beautiful site, diversity, but it's a challenging block. But it makes for special fun wine. Easiest way is the website, Fort Ross Vineyard, but I recommend everyone to go visit. It's one of the only tasting rooms on the far Sonoma coast. It's a great trip out there. The scenery, it's beautiful. It's a stop on the coast to experience what the Sonoma coast is like.
I'm the enologist at 36 Wines. Our auction lot is only Gap's Crown. So it's the clone alone. We took 667 in collaboration with Gary Farrell and sat down and picked out our favorite blocks and then really got down to 667 as the winner. So it's from block 3 from us, and then Gary Farrell makes wine from block 7. Gap's Crown is easily the most consistent and therefore probably a winemaker and a vineyard manager's favorite. And it performs year in and year out. We say the air conditioning is always on there. It sits right in the Petaluma Gap, and the back of the vineyard acts as a backboard. So that constant flow is always circling through, and it makes the Pinot skins a lot thicker. So it's kind of counter to what you would think in Pinot being where Cab in a colder vineyard you maybe get less extraction. With Pinot Noir, with such a thin-skinned grape, when you get that thicker skin, you just get more of this intense kind of inkier black tannins. Really, it's very blueberry. 36wines.com.
Senior winemaker for Francis Ford Coppola Winery. Archimedes is our top wine that we make. Our auction lot today is a Cabernet from Pine Mountain in Sonoma County, and it's just 100% Cabernet from a small lot from an estate vineyard that we grow on the top of Pine Mountain. We find our vineyard to be extremely special because it's about 2,300 feet, and so one of the highest growing vineyards in Sonoma County. And we've selected just one specific block from the estate, and it just kind of shows the true nature of the structure and the capability of that vineyard. It can be a challenging place to grow grapes, but it also is a fun and almost Wild West type place at times. FrancisFordCoppolaWinery.com.
Director of winemaking for Aperture Cellars. We don't have too many drought concerns. We have plenty of water in our vineyards this year. We're a little bit ahead of last year, which is nice. Last year was definitely a cooler year, a little bit later harvest, so we're happy to get more intermittent rains this year. But yeah, it's been nice for growing. Jesse and I are so excited. We were thrilled to pick out this lot. We purchased the Farrell Ranch in 2021 up in Geyserville, and right now, we're in the middle of identifying a new AVA in that region, so hopefully that will come through soon. It's going to be the new Pocket Peak AVA, which is where that vineyard is located. And Block 12 is really near and dear to our hearts. We are unable to make a single vineyard off of it because it's so small. So normally we don't get the opportunity to show this block individually. And this Sonoma County Barrel Auction was a wonderful opportunity for us to show that. And it's a very steep hillside, very concentrated Cabernet, and we were just absolutely thrilled to be able to make it. It's aperture-cellars.com.